Boker Tov, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and of course, to Raya and Mordechai, thank you for hosting and broadcasting this year. We're going to jump right into our shir now for Pirkei Avot, Rechavia, the fourth chapter, and we're going to start with Mishna Tet, Mishna 9. Rabbi Yonatan Omer. Rabbi Yonatan says, Kol hamekayem et haTorah me'oni. Whoever fulfills the Torah out of poverty, so fol l'kaima me'osher. The end will be that he will fulfill the Torah from wealth, with wealth. Chol hamavatel et Torah me'osher. And someone that unfortunately he dismisses the Torah and does not learn Torah in a state of wealth, so fol levatla me'oni. The end will be that he will unfortunately disregard the Torah out of poverty. In other words, someone that if a person is in a state of poverty, which means he doesn't have enough food, and he works a little bit less in order to learn Torah. He works, but he works a little bit less, doesn't put himself into it. Then Hashem will help him that he will be able to fulfill the Torah out of wealth. But if someone does not learn the Torah when they have wealth, they have too much, they have a tremendous amount of money, and he's too busy to learn Torah, and God forbid, Hashem will make that he should be, that he will be poor, and he won't be able to learn Torah. Will make it even harder to learn Torah. So, this is a basic Mishnah, but I'd like to explain a little bit in depth. We have the concept of, the Talmud tells us, Ein ani ela bedat. When we talk about poverty, we mean in knowledge, not only how many zeros you have after the number in your bank account, but also in knowledge, that some people are rich in knowledge and some people are poor in knowledge. And so that really counts. What's in the person's bank account is also important, but that's not the main part. The main thing which counts is really the Torah knowledge that we know. And so, just like we said, that the Talmud says, Ein ani ela bedat, that there's only poverty in knowledge and wealth in knowledge. Knowledge, we mean the learning Torah, but also it means dat in the way we have it in the 10 sfirot. We have Chabad, Chochma, Bina, and Dat. And then we have the 7 levels of emotion. So the Dat is the bridge, according to the Kabbalah, the Dat is the bridge, the knowledge, which bridges between intellect, wisdom, and understanding. And then you have the emotion. And for that, you need to be very focused in order to bring about that your intellect, your wisdom should be translated into practice, that you should become a better person, that your emotions should be refined and not coarse. So when we talk about learning Torah, we need to have dat. As far as learning Torah, which brings, when we learn Torah in a way of dat, in a way of knowledge, and that hopefully brings us to a rich level of learning Torah. And then we're able to translate all the learning in the Torah that we've learned into practice. Let's move on to Mishnah Yud, Mishnah number 10. Rabbi Meir says, Havei mema'et be'esek, one should diminish in their occupation, which usually means regular parnasa, va'asok b'Torah, and be occupied with learning Torah. V'havei shval ruach b'fnei kol adam. And you should be humble in front of every person. V'imam batalta mina Torah. And if a person wasted their time from learning Torah, yesh lach b'telim harbe kenegdach. Then there are other how would we say them? There are other ideas which are not necessarily Torah, and they will help you not learn Torah. In other words, if a person finds excuses why not learn Torah, there will be others that Hashem will set it about that others will also help out in that goal. However, if you learn Torah with great effort, yesh sachar harbe liten lach, and a person has a lot of reward to receive. And as the interpretation is, that if a person learns Torah well, strives in learning Torah, then Hashem will give you your reward directly and not through other mediums. So this is why when you have the positive sense, then you're able to accomplish much more than when a person doesn't act properly, then also they get a punishment. But the reward of doing good is much greater than that. Now, the question is, regarding this Mishnah, is this Mishnah talking about, when we say the beginning of the Mishnah, Havei mema'et be'esek ba'asok b'Torah. You should focus less on your own you should focus less on your own business. Ba'asok b'Torah, and make Torah your business. Are we talking to a Torah scholar, or are we talking to someone who is in the work, someone who does regular work? Well, when the Mishnah says in the next line that you should be humble in front of every person, so there are different opinions. One opinion is the opinion of the Bar Tanura that says you should learn even from someone who's lower than you in wisdom. But the Rambam says that this is a general statement regarding a person who is a person who boasts from himself. That you should be humble in front of every person. So according to the Bar Tanura, that we say that you should be humble with regards to someone who's learning Torah, so how can every single person learn from that? When we said in the beginning of this chapter that Eizeu Chacham Halomet Mikol Adam, who is a wise person, he who learns from every person. So the Mishnah also should have said Halomet Mikol Adam. What is the point of saying that if a person that the Havei Shval Ruach B'fnei Kol Adam, you should be humble in front of every person? And what's the connection with the first part of the Mishnah that you should work less and learn Torah more? So the Rebbe explains that this Mishnah is not talking to a Torah scholar. This Mishnah is talking to a person in the workforce. What does the Mishnah say? You should work a little less and learn Torah more. Because since a person who is someone who works, we already established that he is supposed to work a little less and focus more on the Torah. So then the advantage of the Yisachar, the Torah scholar, and the Zvulun, the person in the workforce, he might say, you know what? I'm such a hot shot. I'm such a big guy. I learn Torah and I work. I do both. I'm able to do both. Therefore, the Mishnah tells us that we should be humble in front of every single person. After all, this Mishnah is teaching us that we want everybody to learn from this, how important it is to learn Torah. Not just that the Torah scholar should learn Torah, but we want that a regular person should also learn Torah. Moreover, when we say that every person should learn Torah, what are we saying? Va'asok b'Torah. It doesn't say v'tilmad Torah. You should learn Torah. It says you should get totally immersed, like a business, like it's your whole, like it's your entire focus, your entire profession. That's how we should be learning Torah, not just like a half hour here, a half hour there. Really, and the truth is that it's not only about time, but it's also about content. That if a person learns Torah, even for half hour, but you put away all distractions, what are you essentially doing? Excuse me. You are being osek b'Torah. You are totally delving yourself into into learning Torah. So this is Hashgacha Pratit, that we're learning this Mishna soon after Shavuot, and we want to strengthen ourselves in learning of Torah. It's not only that a Torah scholar needs to strengthen himself, but also, and perhaps mainly, that a regular person who has a regular job and a regular life should also do their best in delving into learning Torah and learning Torah on the greatest level. In other words, when a person learns Torah, whether it's for a half hour or it's for 5 hours, a person should remember that really the Torah should be learned on a very deep level. So the Osek b'Torah is really teaching us how we're supposed to learn Torah. Not only that we're supposed to be spending more time, but whenever we learn Torah, it should be fully immersed. We should be immersed into the learning of the Torah. Thank you very much for joining us. Bezrat Hashem, tomorrow we'll be learning at 10 o'clock, Kabbalah Cafe at Bagel Cafe in Rechavia. We look forward to seeing everyone in person, hopefully. And it will probably also be on Zoom, thanks to Mordechai and Raya. But we're always trying to expand the learning of Torah. And when we learn together, especially in person, it definitely helps us reach our goal of what we just talked about being osek b'Torah, totally immersed.